And I've been thinking a lot recently. It's been actually kind of a tough year. I lost a good friend in January, finding some other challenges, and my gratefulness and love for what I get to do, it just intensifies as I get older. And every gig just means more. And I really want to thank Marty for, in general, having a vision to do this. Because a lot of the cats I grew up watching, we're losing some heroes, and I think it's really great to recognize people while they're here, and for so many reasons. So, yeah, I see people here that I've known for 30 plus years, and music is the unifying force that brings us all together. It's this funny thing that we're all obsessed with, down to what records we're listening to, and us guitar players talking about what string gauge and pedals we're using. But at the end of the day, it's just been one big awesome excuse to forge these friendships that have been lifelong for me, and it's just been incredible. And so for me, it goes all the way back. Is it okay if I ramble for a second? We got a lot of music to get to. I'm excited, but it does all go back to my older brother Adam, and I'm so happy he's here with my nephew Rylan and his best friend Greg Baylog, who growing up, Greg's like another older brother to me, not blood related, but might as well be. Mainstay at the house all the time, and he'd be bringing guitars over. Actually, the one I always play was one of those, and it was like this sacred moment of, okay, Greg's got a new guitar, and he'd open the case, and it was like you heard the angels sing, It was like, okay, you can hold it, but don't scratch it. And take your jacket off, it has buttons, So it was like this real sacred thing. But he would bring over VHS tapes of Stevie Ray at El Macombo. I know all my guitar player buddies know all about that. Hendrix bootlegs, even stuff of Slash. And I really had the Jones just to get into music. I was probably about 9, and at first I think I wanted to be a drummer, really, but I thought, that looks like too much stuff to carry around. So I went for a guitar. Yeah, you've got it even better figured out. You put that thing in your pocket. So I started playing and, started working on some Stevie stuff, like Couldn't Stand the Weather, I think, and someone heard me play and sent me, you need to go down to the Night Out, Blues Jam, that's where I met Snapper, and it means so much that Snapper's here today, it means the world. But another guy I met down there was Tim Arnold, and Tim's gonna be getting inducted this July, so I'll be here. I know a lot of you will be here, but I remember first meeting Tim, and I sat on the side of the stage and was strumming maybe one of his guitars, and I was playing a Stevie tune or something, and he said, okay, I see where you're at. I saw Stevie a few years ago at Riverbend, and afterward, I didn't touch my guitar for 6 months. And he said, that's great you're digging on him, I love him too, but I want to show you who he listened to. And right there, that first night, he wrote about 20 names on the back of a Soulcasters business card. I still have it. It says, Messing with the Blues, Soulcasters. And then on the back, he wrote like Ronnie Earl, and Albert Collins, Robert Nighthawk. And that sent me down a rabbit hole that I'm still going down. And I started going over for lessons at his apartment. And it was incredible. Every week, he'd be like, okay, this is Hubert Sumlin. And go study. Yeah, study him for a week, And so I just became really immersed in it in my early teens, and put my first band together with Griffin Hussong and Josh Johnson. But before I get there, I just want to mention how big of a deal Jillies was to me, and Jerry Gelati. I don't know if Jimmy D. Rogers is here. But he gave me some of my first opportunities, he and Bobby Rock, and we would open for people like Denise LaSalle and Lattimore, and it was like a baptism in fire for me, and I learned a lot from them about Robert Ward and Dayton music history, and But Jilly's was just such an amazing place to get to, come up in, and also just the kind of acts that he would bring in that we could all go see, Stanley Clark on a Wednesday and Little Milton on Saturday. It was just unreal. And or I got to see Bobby Blue Bland the night he thought I was a girl and sang to me. I was his little red hot mama. Still, it was a great honor. But I have to mention my great friend, Shake and Dave Hassan. I know a lot of you knew Dave. In his own right, he was amazing. Great musician, guitar player, and singer. He was a vintage guitar dealer, and he had a blues show on WYSO for over 30 years. And Mr. Eric Henry, who's here, thank you so much for coming. He's carrying the torch on beautifully. There's nobody better to do that job. And but it would be Monday nights back then. And I remember struggling to do my homework because I'd have it on, and it was he'd put you in a trance, because he knew so much about the history behind the artists, and the T-bone's connected to the gate mouth bone, and this guy played with that, and he just, I wouldn't know about Shuggy Otis, I wouldn't know about Hollywood Fats or all these players if it wasn't for Dave, and he just means so much to me. And his son, Griffin, he's in the Carolinas now, but he was in my first group, real working group called the Stratocats, and we worked our way up. We got to play the Chicago Blues Fest in 1998, and that's where we met, thank you. Yeah, we met Jimmy Delane, who's a son of Jimmy Rogers that played guitar for Muddy Waters, and that led us to a record deal out in Kansas, and in that season of the band, Marty was with us, and Marty came into my life. You were like another father figure, man. It was so much fun traveling in your blue van and just hanging out. And yeah, man. But we found ourselves out in Kansas at this recording studio at this old church called Blue Heaven. And it was aptly named because you'd see all these first generation blues guys. Honey Boy Edwards, Henry Townsend, Little Hatch. 3 guys that actually knew Robert Johnson, and I would sit down in the kitchen and they'd tell me Robert Johnson stories. And these were the kind of bands that were on the roster, and then us. It was really surreal, but it led to us getting to know Hubert Sumlin and working with Hubert, and we got to record with him actually a whole album that's in a vault. I hope it gets released someday, but just extraordinary experiences together. And yeah, and then I moved back to the Midwest and put a band together around 2010 or so, and that was with my good friends Rob Thaxton, who's here, there in the back, Mr. Brian Ayler, and we built things up together, and we found ourselves at the International Blues Challenge, and we placed, and I got the guitar award, and that led to us traveling around the country. And Rob, Brian, and I got to drive all the way to Odessa, Texas together. And if you can do that and have a good time as a band, in a van, you know who your friends really are, man. But they were just amazing times. And when Marty first called me about this, my first thought was oh man, this must mean I'm getting old. But I'm gonna look at this as a new beginning. And recommit to this music in the best ways I